SUV looks, 7 seats, and less than ₱1 million usually aren't said in the same sentence. Now that is a reality that the Kaicene CX70 wants to change. In this video, we find out if the Kaicene CX70 is the latest 7-seater game changer or if you should look somewhere else. Let's do this. Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I want you to click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But first, click that like button. Also, special thanks to Kaicne Philippines for providing the Kaicene CX70 to do this review. The Kaicene CX70 is Kaicne Philippines' first stab at giving us an SUV-like MPV/crossover for below ₱1 million. It comes equipped with an automatic transmission, a bunch of features, and right-wheel drive, which means that this vehicle has rear-wheel drive. Now, when you pair it with a unibody construction, well, it seems that the CX70 has everything going for it, especially for those who are looking for a value-for-money vehicle for their families. In fact, even the asking price is pretty tough to beat. You see, the CX70 has a retail price of 879,000 Philippine pesos, putting it at the same price level as other 7-seater MPVs out there, but those MPVs come with a manual transmission. So from the get-go, it looks like the CX70 has everything going for it. Or does it? Now first off, the SUV look starts here in the front. Now, during the week that I've driven the CX70, I've gotten comments from other people saying that it looks like a smaller Ford Explorer or even a Land Rover. Well, if you look at the headlight housing and the front grille of this thing, well, it is reminiscent of the Ford Explorer. However, if you're a bit OCD, well, you'll be put off by the fact that we have a small Kaicene logo right here that's off-center on the front grille. But luckily enough, guys, it's on the small side. So if I didn't even point it out to you, well, it could have gone unnoticed. Now, the halogen headlights of this thing is in a projector-type housing, but I am quite surprised that we do get LED DRLs here and halogen fog lights. Now, the overall look of the front fascia is really more of an SUV, something that most Kaicene CX70 buyers will come to appreciate. The SUV look continues here on the side. It gets a squared and chunky profile here that reminds me of the first generation Honda CR-V or even the Ford Explorer. However, the CX70 punches above its weight here on the side because it gets power folding side mirrors here with LED turn signals, and it also comes with a turbo badge on the front fender. However, when you look at the wheels of this thing, well, they look a little bit on the tiny side because of the slabs of sheet metal found here. Now, mind you guys, these are still 17-inch alloy wheels, and they are wrapped in 215/60 R17 Chaoyan tires. So yeah, don't expect to get any form of driving performance from these tires. Still, I am quite surprised to see a decent set of mechanicals behind the wheels because we still get 4-wheel disc brakes here, and for the suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and a torsion beam at the back. Now, no wonder the ride quality of this thing in the week that I've been driving it has been softer and more pliant than the more expensive rear-wheel drive SUVs out there. Still, despite that softer ride, guys, well, the CX70 still has a decent ground clearance. At 190 millimeters, well, this thing can easily clear most of the obstacles that can be found in the city. The rear end of the Kaicene CX70 is clean looking and doesn't really have too much gimmicks. However, it does have LED taillights here a bit of a mild surprise there. And we do have a chrome center strip here in the middle and on top of your rear bumper. Now we do get a matte dark gray rear skid plate right here to enhance that SUV look. Now, when you pop open this manual liftgate, you'll see that with the third row in use, well, you do get an adequate amount of space here behind the third row. You can still put some small items here, like a couple of backpacks and stuff like that. Yeah, but if you need more space than what this would allow, well, you can always manually stow the third row seats here. And the seats actually tumble forward, as you can see. And once it tumbles forward, guys, you get 692 liters of cargo space here at the back. Now that's good enough to accommodate around 3 to 4 medium-sized luggage, and it's pretty similar to the cargo hold, well, of a Suzuki APV. However, the budget nature of the Kaicene CX70 kind of shines here in the cargo area because the seat retainers for the third row are just exposed and protruding right here on the cargo floor. And yeah, the jack itself is just found right here. So yeah, it's not really the most beautiful looking cargo hold amongst the cars that I reviewed. Under the hood, well, the CX70 gets a rather beautiful engine because two things appeal to me. First, it doesn't get an engine cover, so it's old school in the right way. Second, this is a longitudinally mounted engine, so yeah, that just means that this is a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Now what we have here is a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged gasoline motor that puts out 148 horsepower and 230 Newton-meters of torque. Now the power is sent to the rear wheels via a 6-speed automatic transmission sourced from Kaicene. However, guys, well, during the week that I've been driving the CX70, I was a bit disappointed with the fuel consumption of this thing. You see, around the city, the best I can do is 8 kilometers per liter. And then when I went out on the highway, well, the best I can do is 11 kilometers per liter. Now, that's not spectacular in any regard, guys. But I was always in sport mode, and I normally drive like how I normally do. So, yeah, I guess that's the reason for that dismal fuel consumption. But still, it's not really good. Step inside the cabin of the Kaicene CX70 and you are in for a visual treat. You see, we get features here that you would not expect to see in a vehicle at 879,000 Philippine pesos. First up, the seats. Well, we get faux leather wrap seats here, and it even comes with contrast red stitching. However, well, the seat cushions itself is a bit on the firm side. Yeah, you would definitely know that you are sitting in like budget seats, especially when you take this CX70 out on a long drive. Now, when you move over to your steering wheel, well, we do get faux leather wrap steering wheel here with contrast red stitching as well. But I was quite surprised that the steering wheel tilts and it even telescopes. So yeah, that is a bit of a treat, guys. Now, for the safety bits of the CX70, well, as you can see on your screen, well, we do get an adequate level of safety bits here inside. Now, when you move over to the infotainment system, well, the CX70 gets a pretty decently sized 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system that only has Bluetooth connectivity, guys. Granted, yeah, asking for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto at this price segment is a little bit too much already for a 7-seater. So yeah, at least we have Bluetooth connectivity, but we also have the image of a reverse camera. Now, I am also quite surprised that we also get a blind spot camera here, which you can just easily turn on. And that is a big safety feature for me because, well, the Kaicene CX70 has a pretty large blind spot on the passenger area. Now, one of the things I noticed though with this infotainment screen is, well, the way it's slanted. While it's clear when you have a cloudy day or at night, it's quite clear and easy to read. Well, in direct sunlight, guys, the way it's angled, yeah, there's going to be a bit of glare there. So it would be more advisable if you can just tint the windshield of your CX70. Now, when we move over to the climate control setup here, well, we do get a fully manual climate control setup. And when you go down further, well, we do have a row of 3 knobs here with the red engine push start button, which means that this Kaicene CX70 for 879,000 Philippine pesos, well, gets a smart key fob. That's right, guys. We get smart keyless entry here, and we also have an engine push start button. Now, these are features that I told you you wouldn't expect to see for 879,000 Philippine pesos. Now, when we go down from there, we have here the shifter for your automatic transmission, which if you look at it closer, well, you'll see that it has the name of Changan right there, which is a tribute to its mother company. Now, of course, we get a manual handbrake here, but another nifty surprise, guys, well, we do get a leather padded center armrest here in the middle with a little cubby right there, and we also have a couple of cup holders, which I will subject to my clean canteen test. So as you can see, the Kaicene CX70, despite being a car made in China, well, has cup holders that pass my clean canteen test. So that's good. Now, guys, when it comes to the cabin materials of this thing, well, as you'd expect for its price category, well, we do get a bunch of hard plastics all over the cabin. However, what I didn't also expect is, well, if you look up, we do get a regular size sunroof right there. So, yeah, that's another feature that, yeah, you wouldn't expect for 879,000 Philippine pesos. Now, yes, when you look around, it's all hard plastics, but we do get that leather padded center armrest and leather padding on your door cards. Here in the second row, well, the Kaicene CX70 is meant to be a family size 7-seater. So yes, we do get a decent amount of space here. 3 average size Asian adults can easily fit here, guys. And I'm quite surprised to see that despite being a rear wheel drive configuration, well, the center tunnel of this thing is not too tall. So the person here in the middle will be quite comfortable sitting here in the, well, in the center of 2 people. Now for the absolute space, guys, I'm 5'6". This is my driving position here, and I'm getting a good 7-8 inches of knee room here, and my headroom is a whopping, like, wow, it's like 10 inches worth of headroom. So yeah, it's quite spacious here on the second row. Now it's also comfortable, guys, because, well, this CX70 gives you a good level of amenities. We get a couple of AC vents here, and we also have a solo USB charging port. Now, another good thing here, guys, is the seats themselves can slide forward to help the people in the third row have some more knee room and leg room, which I will show you just about now. Now, as you can see here in the third row, guys, well, this is a pretty usable set of third row seats. At 5'6", I still get around an inch worth of knee room here and still a good like 4-5 inches worth of headroom. Now, the people here at the back won't feel too claustrophobic as well because we've got some windows here towards the D-pillar, and yes, that headroom is also on the spacious side. However, if you're expecting to see some amenities here, well, you'll be disappointed because there are 0 amenities here at the back. You just got a couple of like cubbies here for like cup holders and stuff like that. But the good news, guys, is if you'll notice, the sitting position itself is not too prohibitive. You see, my knees aren't too high, guys, and this is like a pretty normal sitting position for me. So yes, as a 7-seater people mover, well, this Kaicene CX70 can truly deliver. Alright, guys, so we are now driving the Kaicene CX70, and first up, remind yourself to always lock your doors. See, this thing doesn't come with the speed sensing door locks, and yet it's one of those small conveniences that we've gotten used to with so many other cars out there, but unfortunately the CX70 doesn't get speed sensing door locks. So yes, always remind yourself to lock your doors as a safety measure, guys, whenever you're driving the CX70. So now that you've locked your doors, well, do yourself a favor and always pop this thing into sport mode. You see, in normal driving mode, guys, well, the CX70's, yeah, the throttle response has a bit of a delay to it. So even if it's a 6-speed automatic transmission from Kaicene, yeah, it's trying to err on the more conservative side. It wants to save on fuel economy, guys. So yeah, it's a little bit delayed when it comes to the throttle response. Even the transmission tuning itself is also yeah, it's a bit iffy in normal drive mode. However, when you pop it in sport mode, like what I did right now, well, the throttle response is pretty much the same as what you'd get from a normal driving mode of other vehicles. The throttle response is significantly improved, as you can see. And, well, the transmission feels a little bit more sorted out. So yes, guys, do yourself a favor, and every time you drive this Kaicene CX70, always pop it in sport mode. Now, another thing that I noticed with the CX70 are the brakes. You see, the brakes are on the weaker side, so you'll have to allocate a bit more braking distance in order to effectively stop this thing and avoid a fender bender. Now, the brake pedal itself also doesn't have a very good brake feel. It's a bit on the stiff side. Yeah, but guys, for 879,000 Philippine pesos, yeah, I shouldn't be complaining about brake feel and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to the driving ergonomics of this thing, well, it feels like you are driving a truck. That's because the sitting position is on the upright side, and you've got a really large windshield and side windows beside you. So yes, in terms of visibility, well, visibility is spectacular. You also have a pretty short hood in front, so yeah, it's not going to be difficult to maneuver and pilot this thing. Plus, I love the fact that it is on the narrow side, so yes, taking it around narrow city streets here in Manila, it's going to be quite easy. However, I also did notice that the seats of this thing is on the harder side. I mean, these are some really hard seats. Guys, they are leather wrapped, but the cushioning itself, yeah, it's pretty hard. And I took this out on a long drive, and during that long drive, yeah, my ass was already complaining after driving this for nearly 400 kilometers. Now, one of the biggest advantages of the Kaicene CX70 is its rear-wheel drive configuration. Now, because it is rear-wheel drive, it has no issues at all climbing up a steep parking ramp, which I will demonstrate to you right now. See, this is my steep 20-degree angle parking ramp there, see? And even in normal mode, even in that iffy normal mode, guys, it could easily climb up that parking ramp, no problemo. Now, when it comes to the steering feel of this thing, well, it is on the numb side, and the response is also dull. It's not really that sharp. And when you're driving it on the highway, on highway speeds like 100 kilometers per hour, you'll need constant correction on the wheel in order to keep this thing straight, because it also has a tendency to float, guys. Now, having said that, well, the Kaicene CX70 is priced at 879,000 Philippine pesos. So yeah, we're not even supposed to complain about steering feel, because that is not the main suit of this family vehicle. As for the handling and suspension of this thing, well, the CX70 suspension is tuned more towards the softer side, and it does tend to wallow a bit and also lean, especially when you're taking corners at a fast clip. Now, I do not recommend that you take corners at a fast clip with this thing, but at least the suspension is softer than some of the other rear-wheel drive MPVs available in its price category. Now, guys, most of these tests that I've done with the CX70 were done with just me as a passenger inside, as the driver, with no other load inside. But I did get to take this out on a family road trip over 300 kilometers away from Manila. Now, in that drive, I was able to test it on the highway with a full load, and at this point, I'm going to share with you what it's like to drive on the highway. So guys, pardon the change in the audio because I switched to my GoPro mic right here. So yeah, we're just using the boom mic there. But guys, right now we are here on the highway. We are on highway speed, and I'm with my entire family. And we're heading up north in this CX70, Kaicene CX70. And I can immediately tell you that this is really meant to be a family vehicle. You see, when you load it up with a full load of passengers like what we have now, well, the ride becomes fully sorted out. It doesn't feel floaty, it handles a little bit better, and when you're on the highway like where we are now, well, just put it in sport mode. Yes, and the response, the throttle response of this thing is much better. Even the transmission feels more sorted out. So guys, I could really tell that this Kaicene CX70 is truly meant to be a family vehicle first and foremost, and personal transport next. See, if you're just a solo driver, or you're just two passengers inside the CX70, yeah, the ride can get a little bit floaty. The handling is not really too sorted out. It's a little bit rough on the edges. But once you load it up with a full load of passengers like what we have now, well, yeah, things get a little bit more sorted out. Oh, and another thing, guys, when it comes to the NVH level, we're on the highway, and I was quite surprised. The NVH levels here on the highway is really good. It's way above its weight, guys. I mean, it's quiet and refined here inside the cabin, and you know, my kids are already sleeping at the back. Yeah, so this CX70 as a family vehicle delivers in spades, guys, in spades. If I wear my car enthusiast hat, then the CX70 right here will not make the cut, especially in the driving segment. It's rough around the edges, has the ergonomics and drive feel of a soft and flabby car, and it also has a confused steering feel. However, the driving segment is not the main draw of the Kaicene CX70. Pop it into sport mode, drive it sensibly, and yeah, pay no heed to that steering feel, and what you get is a spacious, full-featured family vehicle that will not break the bank. It has features and creature comforts that are found in vehicles that cost over 1 million Philippine pesos but comes in at the sub-million Philippine peso price point. Now, my friends, in this price category, that is what matters the most. Thanks for watching.